Hi and welcome to this Key Learning Initiative video. Today's topic is Pythagoras' right angle triangles. Before we get going, please like and share and then subscribe or join to my channel so that you can see more and more content. Please, your comments are always welcome, so please leave them in the comments. I'll answer them as I can. But let's get going with our topic, Pythagoras and his triangles. So a few definitions or a bit of theory. There we have a triangle, and a right angle triangle's longest side is always called the hypotenuse. Okay, the longest side of the right angle triangle. Now the other thing about the hypotenuse is it's always opposite the right angle. So you can see in the diagram, the right angle is at the bottom left hand side, and so the hypotenuse is on the top right hand side. It's on the opposite side of the right angle. Now the theorem says the square of the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the squares on the other two sides. So here we have side 1 and side 2, and now we're going to write down the formula. So the hypotenuse squared equals the length of side 1 squared plus the length of side 2 squared. That's what our formula says, or our theorem. Okay, let's get into an example. Example 1. Calculate the length of AC. So the first thing to do is to see that we have a right angle triangle, and angle B is the 90 degree, so we have to figure out which one is the hypotenuse. Remember, we said the hypotenuse is always the longest side and the side that's opposite the right angle. So hopefully you can see the hypotenuse is line AC. It's opposite angle B and it's the longest side. So now we write down our formula. Our hypotenuse, which is AC, and that's squared, equals, and now our other two sides, we square them and add them together, and so it's AB squared plus BC squared. Now we fill in the numbers where we can. Now we're looking for the length AC, so that stays the same, AC squared equals, but we have the length AB, and so instead of AB squared we can write 4 squared plus, and then BC, instead of BC squared we can write 3 squared. Notice I haven't put any units down. Although it's 4 meters and 3 meters, I've just used 4 and 3. What we do is we put the units back right at the end. You don't have to work with them all the way through the sum. Okay, so that means that AC squared equals, now 4 squared is 16 plus, and 3 squared is 9. The next line, AC squared, and that equals 16 plus 9 is 25. Now we don't want AC squared, we just want AC by itself, and so we take the square root of AC squared and the square root of 25. The square root of AC squared is just AC, and that equals the square root of 25 is 5. Now at the beginning of this example I said we're not using any units all the way through, but we have to remember at the end of the example we need to put in the units. So AC equals 5 meters. Don't forget to put in the units at the end. Example 2. Calculate the length of YZ. Now YZ is on the right hand side, hopefully you can see it. But my first question we always have to figure out is which line or which part of the triangle is the hypotenuse. So have a look. Now your hypotenuse is always the longest side and the side opposite the right angle. Now angle Y is the right angle, so opposite angle Y is the line xz. And so there is my hypotenuse, my longest side and the side that's opposite the right angle. Now I can set up my formula. So my hypotenuse squared, which is xz squared, equals my other two sides squared and then added together. So xy squared plus yz squared. And now we've set up our formula. What we do now is we put the numbers in and we solve for the side we don't have. So we know what xz is. Xz is 13 meters. So we just put the number in, we drop the units, we put the units in at the end. That equals xy is 5 meters, and so that's 5 squared plus, and then yz is what we're looking for, so we just write down yz squared. Now my next line, 13 squared is 69 equals 5 squared is 25, and then plus yz squared. Now we continue on as an equation. We want to get rid of that 25 on the right hand side of the equal sign, and so we subtract 25 from both sides. 169 minus 25 gives me 144, and that equals yz squared, because 25 minus 25 just disappears, and so we get equals yz squared. Now we don't want yz squared, we want to just have yz, and so we take the square root of both 144 and yz squared. The square root of 144 is 12, and remember now we put the units back, so that's 12 meters equals, and the square root of yz squared is just yz. So remember, when you're working with Pythagoras and his triangle, you always figure out what the hypotenuse is, and then you set out your equation or your formula or your theorem, whatever you want to call it. You put the numbers in and then you solve it like an equation. And so thank you for watching this Key Learning Initiative video on Pythagoras and his right angle triangles. Please remember to subscribe, guys, so that you can hear more and more, see more and more content. Like and share so that others can do it. Please leave your comments. I will respond to them as quickly as possible. If you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, enjoy your evening or day or morning, whatever you're doing, and I will chat to you again soon.